Happiness is a choice. Make it. The science of happiness. We can talk now about the rules, the ingredients of happiness. And this is a new science. 2000, Martin Seligman, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. They are considered the fathers of positive psychology. And they came up with a concept that we can use today and we can be happier. That is, if we apply the rules. Psychology before that time was concentrated on fixing the problems people have, as they say, bringing them from -7 to 0, let's say. And Martin Seligman especially thought, why not take normal, ordinary people and make them happy? A concept with which he came up in his garden. He was talking with his daughter, who was upset by his reaction, and then the idea is that this is what happened, and he came up with the positive psychology concept. Of course, this is not so new. We have millennia of wisdom before. Aristotle said, happiness is the meaning and purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Indeed, once we are happy, we don't feel the need to do something more. And opposing this, we try and get money, we try and get cars, things, jewelry, because we think they will make us happy. Well, as it turns out, happiness depends on ourselves, but it's not the money, the cars, the material goods. Indeed, it is estimated that once you have financial means, it is better to use them on experiences, traveling for instance, and not on money, cars, and goods, because there is a phenomena called hedonic adaptation. We will get back to this and many more concepts and rules in the discussions that we will have. But there's plenty of research now that demonstrates that it is not the money. I will repeat these concepts because they're so ingrained. So many people believe in these myths of happiness. Sonia Lubomirsky has indeed a book called The Myths of Happiness, and reputed Harvard professor Daniel Gilbert also has Stumbling Upon Happiness, books in which we learn what we think will make us happy, and indeed it turns out that it's not what we think. But we will talk more about rules and ingredients, and of course, happiness is that which is always desirable in itself and never for something else. What is also very interesting is that we will discover not only the rules of, let's say, regular, ordinary happiness, but we can talk about extraordinary moments. Flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is the author of Flow, in which he talks about being in the zone, experiences which are more than just happy. We will get to that in the future. We will also talk about eudaimonia and heidonia. In other words, in an approximate translation, of course, from Greek, ancient Greek, the ancients had so much to say about happiness and so many other things. Eudaimonia would be the long-term happiness, which some people put in opposition to hedonia, which is the moment, which is enjoying life. We all know that hedonists are those who enjoy themselves, party all the time. And indeed, there is a danger of excess. We can concentrate too much on the present. That's what's happening with people who become addicted to drugs, alcohol, and so much more. There's so many things we can become addicted to. And so they say, never mind about tomorrow. I don't care about tomorrow. Let me be happy now. And that's not good. And the same is true when we exaggerate thinking long term. This is a phenomenon in today's society which is called the rat race. We will talk about education and happiness, and we'll see that in our schools the insistence, the emphasis is wrong. We insist too much on let me get good grades, because if I get good grades I will pass an exam, and then I will get in university, and then a job, and then a car, and so on. Always for the future, always delaying, always thinking in the future. But same Aristotle has the golden mean. He meant by that, he gave an example of charity. Yes, it's good to be charitable, but do not exaggerate. Do not give everything you have, because that's not working well. And at the same time, don't be a selfish person and do not give anything. You have to establish a balance. Your happiness, research has shown, is 50% determined by your genes, 10% by the situation, and 40% is the proportion with which you can work. We'll get more into detail with that. Basically, there's a lot we can do with the 40%. Situation, if you live in, let's say, Somalia or another failed state, there's a problem. That part of the happiness pie chart cannot be influenced. But then, again, you can work by establishing, and you see here an example, establishing what you do during the week, the month, and then you can list the activities and see, this activity I would like to do much more, this other activity more, and then you can also work with activities that you want to do less. And in this way, you can improve your happiness. Some people say, we cannot be happy in this world, because if I mention Somalia, things happen in Somalia and in South Sudan and in so many other places. There are hurricanes, diseases, war in Yemen, and so on. It's selfish. It's not. Happy people live longer, healthier lives. That's true. That's a benefit for ourselves, let's say, when we're happier. But it has an impact on those around us. Family and friends will be happier if you are happier. So think about that. That's not selfish. Success in their private and professional lives, which again has an impact in their family, for their family and friends. And research has demonstrated that it is crucial to be optimistic and positive. Studies show that a smile, an authentic smile, which is called the Duchenne smile, indicates life expectancy. People who smile longer live longer. So think about the difference a smile makes. In extensive research, it was also demonstrated that the happiest people have in common not money or great fortune, as some would think, but social support. They have strong ties with their families and friends. If you think about this, GDP in wealthy countries has increased, but happiness levels have not. It is also true that in the places I mentioned, Somalia comes to mind all the time, but it can be Burkina Faso, Bangladesh. There's an important impact that money can have. People who are hungry and don't have the means to support themselves and their families appreciate the difference that a little bit of money can make. but I'm talking money are not important after a level of comfort. Finally, Shakespeare, Hamlet, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. We'll get more into experiments and research that, for instance, shows, there is a research made in Switzerland with 2 cantons that demonstrate the importance of freedom and democracy. People who live in democracies are happier than those who live in a tyranny. We should know that because we lived in one of the worst dictatorships in Eastern Europe and in the world, actually. The last Stalinist, as you see here, Ceausescu. But, as you can see, it works. And if you apply these rules, you will be happier. There is a lot of research that demonstrates that.